Hey friends, so welcome back to DBC Inc. Live. We have Jonathan on the show with us today. So excited to have you here, friend.
Hey, thank you, Tara. What's up, everybody? It's fun to be on here. Excited. Let's do it.
Let's do this thing. Well, tonight we have, like I said, very special next level guest on the show today. And we can't wait to hear what he has to share. But before we get going, as you are joining in, please do tell us who you are, where you're from. I always say, share something good that happened this week. Share something exciting. I mean, we love to hear the positive. There's plenty of negative out there in the world. So do something good that's happening in your world. And Jonathan, I guess it would only be right if we share something good, and then we'll dive into introductions. So have you had something good happen this week? And if so, what?
Oh my goodness, let me tell you what. Yesterday, so I have two daughters, one who's 8, one who's 4, and my 8-year-old, she just competed in her first, like she never was on a swim team in her life. We were new to this neighborhood. They have a swim team. So like 2 months ago, we're like, man, we just hope she makes the team. She made the team. In the very first meet, she got to do one event. And then the very next meet, which was yesterday, she was in 5 events. Her relay team won. I mean, it was exciting and it was awesome because parents were all over the place just making kids feel like $1 million, whether it was your kid or another kid in the neighborhood. Like people were just fired up. It was awesome.
I love that. Well, we are so excited to see some of our guests joining in. We have Lewis in. He's from Virginia, but he's currently in Florida. We'll enjoy the beaches, the palm trees.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Sounds beautiful. Dave's in the house.
Right on.
Well, something good that's happened to me. I got to spend the weekend with my friend Tisha. We went to San Antonio. It was like scorching hot. I mean,
I bet.
The hottest I've been in a really long time. Just so sweaty, but so much fun. We had a lot of fun. And I was just so grateful to get to spend some time with her. So if you're joining in, remember, add your comments. Tell us who you are, where you're from, and something exciting. Hey, Kristen, welcome to the show. Tell us something good that happened this week. Remember, every single comment over in the comment section enters you to win a Next Level Teaching book. So you definitely want to throw some amens over in the corner when Jonathan is sharing later, and you also just want to get any kind of comment you can over there. Every single one of those enters you to win. And I'm telling you, when I scroll, I roll a number and I just scroll that many times, and whatever I land on, that's the name. So the more comments you have, the better chance you have to win. And I really do it like that. You can ask Dave.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And the funny thing about the chat box, Luis, I don't know if this is Luis, like the student that I had a couple years ago, Luis, but I had a Luis in my classroom. And if that is you, brother, you got to let me know in the comment section. That is so cool. If it is, it would make my day. Hey, it is. What is up, my man? Let me tell you what. Luis was one of my all-time favorite students. Great kid. Loved seeing him walk through my doors. Man, this kid had a smile on his face every single day and was all about just having fun and uplifting people around him. Man, I am so, this is so cool, man. That's awesome that you're here.
That's so fun. I love that. And Jordan, welcome to the show. Luis,
what's up, Jordan?
From your teacher. That's so awesome. Dave, he's a trip. All right, friends. Oh, you have Jamie's watching too.
Yay! She's watching from the other room. I guarantee it, with the kids. Awesome. Very good.
I love it. We have so much support here tonight. Well, Jonathan is the author of Next Level Teaching. And Jonathan, I'd love for you just to share just a quick little tidbit. I mean, somebody's going to win your awesome book tonight. And so I'd love for you to share a quick little tidbit of why you wrote Next Level Teaching and why you're really hoping the readers gain from it.
Absolutely. So for me, Next Level Teaching is about this. So oftentimes in the world of education, like teachers, you know, from the perspective of a teacher, like teachers often think the culture of the classroom or the school is in the hands of the administrators, and they don't realize the power that they have to impact the lives of the kids that are in their classroom. And really, what next level teaching is all about is how teachers are the driving force of an effective and a positive and amazing classroom and school culture through the environment that they create in their classrooms, the relationships they build with their students. And of course, my man Luis is in the house, so you know we did all right with that one. And just by doing those amazing things, you create a fire and a love of learning within the students in your classroom. They leave the classroom, and then the things you do around the school just creates this amazing tidal wave of awesomeness in the building. And it starts with a teacher with a passion and love for kids that wants to make a difference and a change in their school.
So true. Couldn't be any more true. I'm super excited. I'm excited to talk to you tonight too, Jonathan. I know that you have some great things to share with us. So I'm just going to remind all the guests again, you guys are blowing it up over in the comments. As those are coming in, I'll be scrolling those across the screen. Keep them coming. They are your chance to win this amazing book. And you're about to hear some incredible stuff from Jonathan, where he's going to share just a plethora of things that are on his heart and his mind for engaging our students, building those next level connections, and really getting ready to like start the year on fire. And I'm super excited to hear from you, bud. So I'll let you just take it away, and I will back out of here until it's my turn to talk again. Keep the comments coming, guys. If you agree with him, if he asks you questions and you have some ideas too, we love sharing ideas in this platform. So it's a very casual setting. Jonathan, it's all you, bud.
Oh, cool. Awesome. And by the way, Amy, I saw your comment that you read my book. Thank you so much. I appreciate those comments. That's awesome. So for me, you know, in terms of like, let's talk about for a second, like engaging our staff or engaging our students in a way that's just different and unique. And so I'm just going to share a couple of things that I do in my classroom that you can also use with your staff and or do with your kids. Okay. And Luis will remember some of these, but you know, one of the ones I love to do in my classroom is a game called Headbands, where literally, and if you're working with kids, you can use it as a vocab review or a review of content, but it's a way to get kids fired up about something that's typically a little bit boring and dry. And you literally put a note card above your head and you get kids engaging with you and giving you clues. And as the teacher, you're playing the game with your students and you get the kids fired up about whatever that content is, when typically they might be like not interested at all. And as it relates to the staff, you can use this as a team builder. You can use this as a get to know you. You could have the staff playing this at one of the very first weeks of school. You can have breakout little groups, or you can do it as a staff and have somebody holding up note cards like the name of the science teacher, people calling out names, science teacher, basketball teacher, the guy with the glasses, whatever. And you can get people just laughing and getting to know each other in a way that's just unique and different. Another fun game, and I got to holler at my wife on this one. She threw this at me a couple years ago, and I loved it, and I call it the Tower of Terror. If you've been to Disney World, you know about the Tower of Terror, right? The theme park ride that you go up really high and it just drops you. Well, what you do with Tower of Terror is, and this is a perfect like relationship building, getting to know your students, just doing something different to get them to get locked into what you're doing in the classroom and think, man, this classroom's just a little bit different. What I did in my room was I used it at the end of the classes in the very first week. You literally just take red Solo cups and you stack them and you put a note card in between the red Solo cups. And then you just pull the top note card out. And if the cups drop and they stay in a stack, the game continues. And I like to do teacher versus students, and we're just playing for fun the last 10 minutes of class. And all of a sudden you have kids that are smiling, excited. You might get kids that normally don't want to get involved in the classroom. They were getting up and getting lined up and having a good time. And then I had schools that were sending me tweet outs and Instagram stories of them doing this at staff meetings and doing this all kinds of places. I had kids that were, I used it this year in my classroom, even with the virtual setting. So it's a great team builder in the classroom. And then one of my all-time favorites, again, this one came from my wife. Again, talk about next level teacher. She's unbelievable. It's, there's no name for this one, so I'm just going to call it the Tower Cup Building game. I don't know, but you basically take a string and you tie it together so it's in a circle, and then you get little rubber bands. You cut rubber bands so they're straight, and then you tie them to the string so that as you pull the string, you tie the string to the rubber band, and as you pull the string, the rubber band expands, and then you have red Solo cups stacked up, and then you got to get your students, and usually we'll do this in groups, students to use the strings and work together to grab the cups and then stack them, and then grab the next one, stack it, and then you can build a pyramid. Or you can have them do, I had kids put the red Solo cups with the open part up and then the next one had to be closed part down. And it's actually awesome because you could use this as a staff building thing on your very first week back to school, where you get teachers that are like over in the corner and they're like not interested. Just like you have students who are like, man, I'm not interested. I don't want to be a part of this. All of a sudden they're smiling, they're laughing. It's challenging. So people have to talk and work together and move. And then if you want to make it really tough, you can't speak at all. It's all nonverbal cues. And then people are like pointing and doing different stuff, and you see people laughing. It's a great time, something that you can definitely use to get your staff kind of, that normally maybe would be bored in a staff meeting, to kind of break out of their comfort, get to know each other, or in a classroom to get kids to break out of their comfort zone and get to know each other. It's not academic, but you can even find ways to make it academic. So that's what it's all about in terms of just building relationships with your staff, building relationships with your students, again, in a way that's unorthodox and impacting their day, getting people, whether it's kids or adults, to smile, to laugh. I'm telling you, if you can get people to smile and laugh, that's game changing in and of itself, building the culture of the classroom or building the culture of the school. So that's one of the best few options that I can give you for today.
No, I love it. I love it.
Vernon, what's up, brother? Sorry, Kara.
Vernon's in the house tonight.
Yeah,
There's so many people who have joined in. I'm so excited to see Evan made it to Thursday Night PD. Stephanie, we're so excited to see you. So many fun ways to get people involved. And remember, when we're starting out the year, everything has to be content related. I mean, I know we know that, but I still think at sometimes we feel this pressure, like to get all these things and to get right into the content. But the little bit of time that we spend having these fun, engaging moments of building that team culture in our classroom, it just pays off so big later. And as soon as the kids, I feel like both of the activities you explained, Jonathan, really eliminate that fear of failure, because they pretty much have it embedded in, like, you're going to fail. And so I love that, though. Like, right at the onset, we're just going to kind of tear down that barrier of fear of failure, because we're going to show you that we're all going to fail.
Absolutely. And that's one of the best parts. Like, there's you're right, no fear of failure, because you're all going to mess up. The cups are going to drop or this or that, and everybody's going to be having a good time. And there's no one's like grown up skilled at this kind of stuff, man. Nobody's grown up stacking cups of rubber bands and strings. So it's a great time to have a good time. And to your point of getting into the content, I had a teacher one time that was like, I can't get into having fun and games right away. I got to get into the standards because, I don't have time for games, or I don't have time to do those things. And, for me, and so they referred to those ideas, stuff like that, as wasted time. And for me, I even write it in my book, time for building relationships with kids or with your staff is never wasted time. I will spend 10, 15 minutes of that wasted time, whatever it is, in my classroom having fun. Luis knows, he's in the crowd today. He knows the deal. And then I'm going to get an hour or more every single week moving forward of locked in, fully engaged classroom instruction, because we have kids that are now, they just know something's different. And they're just excited because they're like, man, there's something different about this teacher's class, or there's something different here. I want to be a part of it. I want to learn from you now because I know that I'm going to do something cool.
I love that. And I love with your wife just posted, how you guys were at dinner for your anniversary. And the hostess asked if you were Mr. How do you say your last name? Mr. Alsheimer's?
Alsheimer, yes. Alsheimer.
Yeah. And she had been in your class. It's so true. Like, when we do these things, we make time to build this type of culture, relationships. I know you know this if you're listening, but just reminding you that it's okay. This is your permission to do these awesome things at the onset of school, because that's what they remember 10 years later. They remember a teacher who took the time to build a relationship with them.
Absolutely. And I'm going to jump into something, Tara, that I really want to talk about, and what you just said just leads me there. So I'm just going to go for it. I was talking with Adam Peterson, another DBC author, literally yesterday, and I was telling this story. And by the time we were done with the podcast, he was like, dude, I want to get involved in this. And it was quite simply this. And my wife knows the story. She's in the other room. She's actually with my daughter right now. My youngest daughter had tubes in her ears and a tonsillectomy. Basically, they rip your tonsils out, and then you're in a room, and the little kid is just in so much pain. And I remember as a parent, as a dad, like I just felt like I felt so incredibly helpless. My wife and I did. And so we're in the hospital. Next thing I know, this nurse brings in this box and hands it to my daughter. And she opens up this box, and there's some crayons in it. There's some coloring pages. It wasn't even like a full coloring book. It was some coloring pages. There might have been one or two other smaller things. And then there was a stuffed unicorn that she actually still has up in her room right now. And I like to call it a smile box, or you can call it a happy box, whatever, but a box of just goodies for a kid who's in need, who just went through a surgery. And, in my book, Next Level Teaching, I talk about how you can utilize things in your classroom to galvanize your students and bring everybody together in this family atmosphere. And it doesn't have to be academic. We had a whole revolution in my classroom over a canned food drive, or raising money for cancer research, and all these different things. And kids feel like a sense of purpose because they're doing something special. They're doing something important. And as a teacher, you can use those moments as teachable moments, because in the classroom, I don't just teach academics. I teach character as well. So this year, my classroom, and it might be 5 boxes that we create or 500, but my classroom is, amongst doing all these other things that we normally do, raising things for the shelters, giving food to the local churches, raising money for cancer research or whatever. We're going to do all those things. But one thing I'm really excited about is creating smile boxes for kids. I'm going to have my kids go out and get donations, send emails to businesses. So if you're a business, or a business that would love to be involved and donate, I'm just creating the idea now, but pretty soon in the fall, we're going to execute this. And what we're going to do is we're going to raise money and get donations, and we're going to build these boxes, and I'm going to take them to the local hospitals. And then I'm thinking St. Jude's as well, for families that are going through some sort of struggle within the hospital, whether it's a surgery like a tonsillectomy, or somebody had brain surgery, or for their child, or maybe they're just in the hospital because they're battling cancer, whatever the ailment is, something to cheer them up. And I want my kids to be at the forefront of this, building this. And of course, we're going to do schoolwork, but then we're going to take the time to do these things as well. And we're not just doing it within our classroom. Like we're going next level with this. I was just talking with Adam yesterday. He was like, I love this idea so much. And I told him, I was like, dude, I'm going to reach out to celebrities. I'm going to be reaching out to anybody and everybody, big companies, small companies, big names, small names, anybody who wants to get involved. And I want my kids to see that these things can happen and people want to help out. Next thing I know, we're talking about, he's got a connection with the president of the Ronald McDonald House. He knows a teacher that has celebrities' kids in California. And he's like, dude, those people would love to get involved. I got connections with the UFC, so I'm going to try to work that angle. Local businesses, local churches, from the grandma down the street to the biggest name on social media. We want people to get involved in this, and it's going to start in a 7th grade middle school classroom. And any school that wants to get involved, as far as I'm concerned, we can have Zoom conversations with a school in Australia, and we can have, they can show us how many boxes maybe they got 4 boxes for kids, and we got 10. I don't care if it's 1, 10, or 1,000. And we can say, hey, we're going to help out people in our community, and kids can get behind this because they want to be a part of something special. They want to do something that draws everybody in, and people can get galvanized behind a small, simple idea, and you can make it as big as you want. But at the end of the day, it's about impacting your community and impacting the kids by building character, by showing them, listen, you can, I don't care how young you are. It could be a 3rd grade class, 2nd grade class, kindergarten class. If it's 1 box, you made a difference in someone's life, because it happened to us and it changed our entire night. It changed the look on my daughter's face. It's amazingly impactful. And I'm telling you what, it's an amazing way to, and you can do your class. You can have the whole grade level. You can have the whole school. You can have your class working with an elementary school down the street, Zooming about what you're going to be doing, planning it out, and talk about building a culture in your classroom, a culture of kids feeling like they're doing something special and they're all in on something. It's like a family atmosphere. I love it.
I love it too. I love the idea too of just maybe everyone jumping on board. What if we all just committed to building at least 1 smile box a semester? I mean, that's like nothing, or one a month. You know, one a month, we take some donations, we put them all in a box, we take them to a kid who needs them at the hospital. I mean, even if you can't create a bunch of them, what a wonderful project to be a part of. And it always has a purpose. You know, we talk a lot about, you know, project-based learning. We talk a lot about, you know, allowing students to experience learning. And I think sometimes we create things that don't necessarily always have a purpose. And I'm not really bashing this. I don't want to take us to a negative thing right after Smile Boxes.
No, I know what you mean.
No, I think a lot of times, like I've done this too in the classroom, like we created these like cardboard things, you know, and it was fun to measure and do all these things. But honestly, we took a few pictures and it kind of went out into the recycle bin. But isn't it wonderful when we take the time to create something, build something that actually serves a purpose and is going to be used by someone else? I mean, that's when you're like researching, you're trying to connect with people, you're pulling in donations, you're drawing from your own resources, and you are going to create this thing that's actually going to serve a purpose and bring life and joy to someone else. That's key. You know, I saw Amy talking about really wanting to be able to help the homeless. That was something, one of our projects we created in the 5th grade classroom was, I kind of moved away from the cardboard thing. I just had this epiphany, like this is just, I feel like I'm just kind of wasting time and I'm just like creating all these things that I'm just going to recycle. But what if we created a project that we actually brought stuff to the homeless? And that's what we started doing. We had some seamstress that like were creating these little cloths. We also had a group that made soap, which I thought was very interesting and fun. But all of it involved a lot of our Common Core standards. And we were doing the project-based learning, but we were actually serving, like our product was going to serve a purpose. And that just changes the dynamics completely because kids are like, okay, what did they think of it? Did this really help them? And being able to deliver that, or at least maybe you deliver it, Jonathan, and then you're able to take a video and come back and share that with your kids. Look at the joy on this face. Like you did that. It's just so powerful to feel that.
I'm telling you, yeah, absolutely. You touched on so many amazing things. And it's like when they see, like if a hospital or anybody can send, all right, get us some pictures afterwards, or I'll take a video. Kids get to see that and they're like, man, look, we did something today. We did something. Like we're going to do the standards too, but we did something. And also, don't forget this, when you do projects like this, you're getting the kids, you let them take ownership too. You steer them in a direction, but you have kids that are like taking the business approach, right? Like all of a sudden at the end of it, you can have a conversation. Like you guys were like CEOs. You guys were researching where I should send emails for businesses. You guys were the ones drafting it. Of course, maybe I edit it to make sure it sounds perfect and then we send it out. But you guys were doing the work. Look what you did. And you're only middle school or you're only 2nd grade. Like that's next level stuff. And then the next thing you know, they're like, wait a minute. Yeah. Like you're essentially starting a nonprofit foundation in your class. Look what you did. Exactly. And kids are like, wow. Like when you tell them all these things at the end, and you like to save it a little bit to the end so that it's not overboard for them. But when it hits them at the end and they realize the impact they made, what they did, they're like, wow, that was cool. And talk about locking kids in. And then, of course, let me talk about this. The next day, you're going to do something in your classroom, academic. Tell me, those kids are going to be so locked in. You can have them doing the most boring activity. They don't care. They're locked in because they love what's going on in the class.
It's so true. I'll give another example, too. In a kindergarten class, we had a group of kindergartners in Shanghai that wanted to, like, join together. So we joined together in a seesaw. We built a separate seesaw class where my kindergartners and their kindergartners communicate with each other. And it was so fun and it was so great. And literally all we were 18 or 15 hours difference. We were big difference, time zone difference. So we would look at their stuff like the next day. And it was very simple. Like they were just like, hi, my name is Sam. Hi, my name is, it was like really plain and Jane. But then I was visiting with a professor here at KU that was helping us on a project here in our district. And he said, well, what's the purpose? And it brought me right back to that project-based learning epiphany that I had. And I was like, what is the purpose besides, chatting with each other and stuff? And so one of the things we said, you know what, let's create a digital book. We're going to create a digital book and share with you what it looks like in Lawrence, Kansas. and they were learning English. So it was a perfect opportunity for my kindergartners to kind of write out a few words, like literally vocabulary words that they could learn and see with our digital book. So they had tasks to like find different things in Lawrence and take pictures of it, and some of it we found on the computer. And then the Shanghai students did the same thing in China. And so it was so fun because we had this little digital book, and it was like our favorite place to eat, our favorite place to eat, our favorite place to visit, our favorite place to visit. And then it became something for a purpose because the kids could read that book and learn Chinese and learn English at the same, at the same time. So there's so many projects like this that I would love for you to like be thinking about this, like what Jonathan's saying, and taking it to that next level. Our work can cover the standards, help us to build that SEL in our classroom, and serve a purpose. It's possible to do all the things. And I think this is just a great idea of it.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I love just the idea of like, taking something that, where you can impact somebody. I love the example that you just shared, kids. And I love the fact that you gave kids an opportunity to, look outside of their world bubble. There's such a big world out there, people that experience life and languages and cultures that are so different. And to give kids just a little bit of that, but in a way that was a really big time kind of way, giving kids a way to look outside their bubble and go, man, look at what they're doing on the other side of the world. Look what they're eating. Look what different stuff like that, the cultural differences. And it's just, again, eye-opening to kids. And it's just I love hearing things like that because that's the type of stuff that draws kids in right there. Not the textbook. That's there to help. That's not our main teaching tool. It's stuff like that. And I love what Scott said, project versus authentic learning. I love the word experiences. That's what it's all about, experiences.
It's so true. It's so true. And adding that it's not really hard. Like every time you do these projects, even the smile box, I saw up in the comments just a little bit. By the way, Evan, I really love this. It's not just cool. Like, how do we create a purpose? And I think that's what Jonathan's saying here too, helping his kids to see outside of their bubble, because maybe they've never even experienced what it's like to be in a hospital, or they've never had anyone experience that. But to be able to make someone's day who's been in the hospital and them see their reaction, or at least know that you help them to feel better, that's so key. I think it was up a little bit, but somebody had a great idea and I wanted to share it, but I can't remember where it is. Anyway.
Oh, Dave, I saw that.
What did he say?
Dave just said, but can your wife cross you up and take you to the rag? If she comes in here, please don't come in. We played one-on-one when we were dating in high school, and she beat me. And I was like a stud basketball player. She was a stud basketball player, and she beat me 100%, Dave. So there you go, man. You made me say it like on the internet, so now it's out there for the world.
Now we're off track, but hey, that's a really good point. Jamie, you rock. Jamie's a beast.
Dave cracks me up, man.
And take the back seat. All right, friends. Well, this has been so much fun. Remember, when you're out there creating your projects, let's take them to the next level, and always ask yourself, like, is there a way to bring in this element of purpose, right? This element of we don't just have to learn this thing, and maybe we don't just have to experience in the classroom. I feel like when we were building some of those cardboard things that we built, replicas, it was an experience for sure. It was a lot of fun. The kids were definitely getting like measurements and research and all these different skills. But man, when we really changed it to they were creating something that they could actually deliver to someone and they would be able to use it, it was going to be used for a purpose. That changes it quite a bit. It just takes it to that next level. And if you try the smile boxes in your school system in any way, please do share out. And I'll let Jonathan share his social media contacts and also the Next Level Teaching hashtag, so we can be sure to see those and share them out too. It would be wonderful if the whole world started taking on the smile box idea. And what a beautiful thing to be able to create. I saw someone say, what if we use these with staff or new staff members or something like that? You could do smile boxes for all sorts of people. It would be so fun.
Absolutely.
Connect with you. How can they find you on social media?
Yeah. Yes. So on Instagram and on Twitter, it's at Mr. Alsheimer. And I got a website coming soon. Stay tuned for that. But it's at Mr. Alsheimer on Twitter and Instagram. Hit me up. I would love to connect.
It's awesome. And he's using the hashtag next level teaching, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So if you try any of these ideas, use that hashtag. We're following it all the time, and tag at DBC_Inc. We're always excited to follow all the journeys of all of our authors. Jonathan and I were just talking about that before we joined the show, how we are just one big family, and we love it so much to be able to support each other. So, oh, I have a smile file too, Ryan. I love my smile file. Anytime I get a sweet note, it slides in there. It's like bulging like this. I love it. When I'm feeling really depressed, I go pull it out and I just read all this stuff from like way back. So thank you for joining us for DBC Inc. Live Thursday night free PD. We love coming on every Thursday night, 6:30. Dave will be your host next week. Woo woo! He's really excited.
Right.
I'm going to be on vacation, so he's going to steal the show. And we have another special guest coming on next week, so you definitely want to join that. We will be announcing the winner for Next Level Teaching book in the morning. So if you're watching this on the playback because you're putting babies to bed or feeding your family, we totally get that. And we'll be choosing our winner in the morning. So be sure and look out and see if you are the lucky winner. So if you're watching it on the playback, get your comments over in the comment section so you can be chosen. Thanks again for joining us, Jonathan. Thanks for your time. And Jamie, thanks for pitching in and whipping up on that boy on some basketball. It's always exciting to learn.
Thanks for having me on. And Dave, thanks for calling me out, brother. Appreciate it. Thanks, Sarah.
Bye, everyone.